Hello, everyone, and we have a little guest here with us. We have our baby boy. Yes, we do. And we're back. And you can see that Lara, my beautiful wife, is also back. We didn't get to do as many videos as I thought I was because miraculously she was healed shortly after I made that video and posted it and everything.
Lazarus. We got raised from the dead.
Oh, yeah, I like it. Oh,
Oh.
hold on one second. Anyway, so Lara wanted to come on here and talk about and by the way, now I'm not sick, but I have allergies, so now she's having to
I
tend
just
to
don't be
me.
sick.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty
I'm not
bad.
doing anything to
The
tend to you.
pine trees are just terrible. I mean, just clean the
I'm
room.
gonna go cut all the pine trees down.
There you go. All of them in the whole world.
What's his name? No, he planted trees.
Oh, Johnny Appleseed?
Yeah.
You're like the bane of Johnny Appleseed's existence. You're the exact opposite of Johnny Appleseed. Before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that good stuff.
And hit the bell.
Yep. Because I think that's still a thing. Lara, go ahead. Let's go ahead and kick it off.
So whilst I was sick, I will not lie, I was really craving your company.
Now you're
It was
Abraham
very
Lincoln
lovely.
or George Washington. Which
Oh,
one was
well,
not the line?
George Washington. He cut down the apple tree.
George Abraham Lincoln.
Sure.
Okay.
It was very lonely while I was sick. But if we really look at the last, hang on, 4 months, it's been hard.
Yeah, it's been a pretty wild ride.
So, number one, disclaimer: if you're going to take medication, talk to your doctor about the side effects. I feel like that should be a preface for anything.
Bring that mic down a little bit. Also, before we get started, before you get going too far, we will be getting back to the gamer book. We will be getting back to the do's and don'ts for husbands and wives and stuff like that.
I have one right here. Oh, I got mine.
There's just, like Lara was saying, this last 4 months has been kind of crazy. Hopefully it'll slow back down a little bit. So yeah, go ahead, take it off.
I have a burp sitting right here. Look at the baby boy, though. I wish you guys could see that. He's so cute.
He went over there and went right to sleep.
So,
there it is.
Okay. We keep talking about not drinking these drinks, and then we do it every time.
That's all
but this one is not sponsored by Waterloo, which is really good. You're drinking my favorite one.
The blackberry and lemon is gross.
Oh, I like it. Anything with berry you don't like.
Yeah.
So, whilst I was out of my mind, which has not been the first time, I feel like since we've been together, I have been trying to get into my mind, or get out of my mind, but into the right mind.
Get into the right mind state. Yeah, I think is the best way.
But I think it started like right before. I know it started right before Thanksgiving. Maybe the 20th. That would be weird if it was the 20th also.
Why? What happened?
Because it was the 20th of January, and then Larry's birthday is the 20th. Anyway, nonetheless, that would be interesting. I started taking medication for ADHD, as you guys obviously know. I struggle with that. And did not, I guess because I took it before, I did not really ask about the side effects. We talked about my potassium, I think, in previous videos. And I just, in trying to find the right state of mind, went to the left state of mind. And so the last thing that happened was me getting sick, like legitimately sick. In the meantime, I have, I guess, detoxed or gone off of all my medication. And I watched your video.
By the way, you're going off of your videos, off your meds has been really huge. Well, no, it's been great in my opinion. I think you being on, and we've talked about this. We're not trying to freaking beat this dead horse. It's just this has been a huge part of our life for the last few months, getting it all worked out and figuring out that hey, ADHD medicine isn't really for you. I mean, I know you just got some that's supposed to be non what is it what did you call it?
Non-stimulant?
Yeah, non-stimulant, but you haven't tried it as far as kind of
Mm-mm.
yeah.
No, sir.
So, I mean, maybe if we had a vacation, like a week vacation where you could just dedicate to trying that and not have any other things coming on, maybe that would be worth it, but I think you being just off of medication is probably best bet, even if it means writing lists or timers or whatever.
I haven't done anything,
Yeah,
seriously. Well, no, I have been using I wish I had it with me, the, Carpe effing Diem.
yeah.
Uh,
Your notebook.
yeah, my notebook. So I got rid of all my notebooks. I got rid of everything. I got on the medication and it really was great for the first like week or so.
It's
Because
the
everything
honeymoon
was
phase.
quiet. Hmm,
I said it was a honeymoon phase.
it was.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, so I've always struggled with ADHD. I've always struggled with all the like to-do list in my head and not being able to focus, but I feel like I have been on hyperdrive,
Mhm.
like literal hyperdrive my whole
Can I
life.
can I cut in here real quick? And I know I've interrupted a lot, and I will let you just have like
Mm,
a straightaway here in a minute. Um, I feel like because you have quite a few things, I feel like you need to have a list here of like I'm not even kidding because I've kind of mentioned it in my video where you have almost like glaucoma. That's me. But you have celiacs and you have all these other things, and all of these different medical things kind of play into each other. It's like you're low on
This is my story all about
yeah,
how my life got twisted. I'm sorry,
but you have like chronically low potassium and vitamin B, both of which are harder to absorb whenever you don't have
Andy.
and D, but they're all harder for your body to absorb because you're gluten intolerant
And
or
because I have
celiacs.
the MFR gene
Yeah.
defect, which I love it.
Oh my goodness. So go ahead and give us a little rundown of a few things that have either happened to you in your life, like your drowning situation, or the celiacs, or whatever can or has possibly affected your brain as far as physical and also just your body kind of rejecting things.
It all started when I lost my mother. No love for myself and no love for another.
Right.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Um,
Mom's still alive.
um, I
Some
think
of us aren't that lucky where we've lost a parent.
that's dark.
I mean, that's true.
Um,
That's why I don't play around about it.
so at 14, I don't
I'm not
really
talking
think
about my mom. My mom's still around.
I've
Talking about
always
my dad.
been super emotional. And I don't know if it's by comparison to a family member who was struggling with their own stuff or it's just who I am.
Mhm,
But I've always been very emotional. And then at 14, everything kind of like happened at once. The real strong male figure in my life passed away of cancer.
mhm,
I got raped. I drowned and died. And that's a whole I think we've talked about that in previous
mm.
stories. If not, we can.
I think you need to have
Um,
a short story time
yeah,
dedicated to that.
story time. Um, and then I just ended up in I was a chunky kind of gal and I was looking for approval and struggling with that male, you know, figure thing in my life. And so, like 14 really was a really hard time for me and being overweight. And at the time, it was not trendy to be, a 12 or a 14.
Yep.
Nobody made clothes for that, blah, blah, blah. So everything kind of happened at once. And I think really when I drowned, I remember being in Shands and I got out really quickly, which seems to be the theme. But they
In your
said,
perspective, because from your parents' perspective, it wasn't as quickly as you think.
hmm, never really talked to him about it.
Yeah.
But the doctor said, oh, we really, I had infection on my lungs. I had, I remember they talked about all my different nail polish colors. I don't know what was going on at the time, but I was painting them all different colors. And I had an infection on my lungs. And then miraculously, I got better and then I got out. So
Mm,
within under 2 weeks, I was out of there. And I don't know. Like I said, I feel like I've been living on hyperdrive since then.
Yeah,
Um,
and just as a comparison, there's been other specifically female people. I haven't heard specific cases for men, but where there's been some kind of trauma or some kind of specifically brain trauma. So almost a Rosie O'Donnell. What's her name? Roseanne Barr, and then also Miley Cyrus. Both of them had traumatic injuries that happened to them whenever they were children, and they said that Miley Cyrus specifically was just night and day. How she was very quiet, reserved, all this other stuff, and then she had that incident whenever she was a child, and that made her kind of who she is today.
it's hard because you don't have like a baseline,
Yeah.
and I have always had a big personality.
That's your mom said that you were reserved whenever you were a kid. Like you were kind of like quiet and could play by yourself and stuff like that. And then after, you know, a certain age, I'm not specifically saying it's from the drowning because I was older, but whenever you hit a specific age, you've kind of, I'm saying
And buck
specific
wild.
way too many times. Yeah. You're like, um, you just needed somebody to entertain you.
I did. Um, hmm, sorry,
Your mom and I talk a
reflecting.
lot.
Um, whatever happened, whether it be the drowning or whether it just be who I developed into, um, now that I think about it, it really has been from 14 to 40. So what's that? 26 years. I did really good math though.
Yeah.
I feel like I have just been looking for this space. I'm going to get in my feels to just rest.
Mhm.
Like I have lived on hyperdrive, overdrive, full throttle, whatever you want to say. I always talk about like my body might be 40, but I have lived 70 years.
Mhm.
I have done everything I can to find that dopamine or acceptance or whatever it is. So fast forward, here we are.
Hold on, we never finished the list. So you had the drowning
The
situation,
drowning,
you had which
the
could have
drowning and
possibly
the grape, sorry.
look that up.
Yep,
Um,
happened around the same time.
yeah. So that
Grapes.
trauma in general, um, in that 14 to 15 years caused a lot of different things, possibly with the ADHD, possibly with, different things that definitely male figure kind of situation. So trauma, we'll just umbrella term that and for now until we can go back to it and truly cover it. And then I keep on wanting to say glaucoma. Why do I keep on celiacs? um
Which I didn't
low
even know till way later.
deficiency or deficiency in vitamins. What else?
The
Legally
well,
blind in
I've
one
had
eye.
health I've had health issues since I can remember. Like I even as a young kid, I always worked with my dad
Mhm,
or like men. I have always dealt better with men than I have with women
mhm.
or more masculine women who don't have a man or don't need a man, whatever you want to call it. Um,
Strong independent people.
and then you screw in 96 holes into the wall. I want to put the
Have
like
that
thing I
image.
sent you today. Um, but I did not know I had celiac, so I dealt with being overweight, which made me insecure, I guess, and maybe overweight made me always look for approval, plus whatever. A lot of things, a lot of contributing factors led me to the person that I was when right before we met.
Mhm.
Right before we met, I got to a breaking point where who, what, where, when, how, why, it didn't matter. I was sick.
Yeah,
I was
but
sick and sad.
hold on. I'm I'm just trying to keep on track real quick, just for the audience.
Okay.
Diagnosis list.
Celiacs,
Mhm,
ADHD,
mhm,
anxiety, depression, questionable manic depression, bipolar, which at this point has been ruled out,
mhm.
depending on who you ask. Um, I mean, I guess codependency at one point was on there. Um, I have I think like 50% or more of America has a MFR gene, MFGR genetic deficiency where they
Mhm.
can't absorb vitamin B and therefore they have to have methylfolate in order to do that. But you have to have vitamin D and is it magnesium or potassium, one of the two, to enable that gene. So
Hmm.
I had that. And then I was low, fluctuated between low protein and calcium deficiency.
Mhm.
So a lot of deficiencies when it comes to absorbing
Yeah.
vitamins, and I wasn't eating healthy at all.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing the things I needed to do to take care of my body. Um,
Also, just touching on the vitamin thing, vitamins, specifically B, D, magnesium, all those different things, just for emotional health, are a huge
mhm,
thing. Uh,
absolutely.
so go ahead.
Potassium, though. I had no idea how much potassium affected you. I remember one time I was in the hospital, one of many, where I had drank so much water that I was flushing all the vitamins out of me. Everything
Jeez.
in moderation,
Yep.
right? So I had flushed almost all the potassium out of me, ended up in the same position where all of my vitamins were,
Hmm.
out of whack. But anyway, I think the long and short of it was that I struggle with vitamin deficiencies, celiacs, and anxiety, ADHD, and I never really felt depressed. But I feel like like if you're in a shitty situation,
Mhm.
crappy situation, you can leave that out
Yep.
however you want.
We made it past the 1 minute mark already.
Great. Uh, you would be depressed too if you were facing the things
Sure.
that I was facing.
And
So
depression, I think, looks different for other people. I don't think it's always like how the commercials used to show it, where it's like a cloud over people. Sometimes it just comes in waves, and it is what it is.
Now that you say that, I remember when I first found the well, it's now a husband and wife duo, but the doctor that I found that helped me get off of all the ridiculous medication. Oh, and an addiction at 20, 24, 25. I had no idea
Mhm.
that I grew up in the era where my grandma said there's a medication for everything.
Mhm.
She kept all of her medications. My mom, I was on antibiotics all the time as a kid. I had chronic ear infections, chronic everything, it felt like.
Mhm.
And you just trust the doctor. And so I found a doctor in South Putnam. Um, where we live. And he was like, "Oh, well, you have back issues. Here's a pain medication. Oh, you have ADHD. Here's a stimulant. Oh, well, you have anxiety. Here's a anti-anxiety pill." And so all these medications. And then I feel like I was misdiagnosed with zero factor rheumatoid arthritis,
Mhm.
which to me is like a crapshoot for I can't figure out what's wrong with you,
Yeah.
and fibromyalgia. And so I was on all this medication, overweight. I was sick and tired and
Mhm.
sick and tired of being sick and tired. And then I found a doctor in his like 1.5 months, maybe 2 months of being at like a, what do they call that? Azalea
A
Health.
clinic?
Yeah, a medical clinic for low income because I was at
Yeah.
the time. And he saved my life.
Yep. I appreciate them, but at the same time, I mean, one addiction into another or habit, because a lot of people are going to say marijuana is not a addictive property. It is. I mean, it is what it is. But just for sake of argument, I'll forego saying addiction for now and say habit. Um, so whenever I met you, you were still going to him, and we're way off subject, but that's okay. We'll round it back to that and end on what we're initially wanting to talk about. But um, yeah, he got you off of this medication, the actual pharmaceuticals, but got you onto medical marijuana.
Well, I abused the crap out of that.
Oh yeah,
Just
but at the
medicated
same time,
myself.
literally, he gave it to you, and
Well, at the time, they did not tell you. Like, you walked in, this is when the dispensaries first opened before it was, I don't wanna say trendy, but, like, you had to work really hard to get a medical card.
Yeah.
And you walked in there, and compared to what you can go into now,
Yeah.
they just said, "You have this amount, and here's what you can do, and best of luck to you." So I was pretty much like, I was just high all the time for the first 4 months.
That's crazy. But even then, like, whenever you got back on it, because you got off it for a while, because I didn't like it, and then you got back on it, to help with anxiety, um,
I was abusing it though.
yeah, but, I mean, you're still trying to do it to his instruction, and you had a certain amount that you could take, but what I'm getting at is even though he got you off this other medication, even if you abused it, because people abuse their regular medication too, um, he's still prescribing something that has no research behind it. Like giving medical marijuana to somebody for anxiety, on your side of Google, it said, yeah, sure, it does help. On my side of Google, it says absolutely not. That's why you're waking up with nightmares.
Well, I will say that at the time they had suggested me being on, so there's 2 different strands. There's, sativa and indica,
Mhm.
and I should have been on indica to help with anxiety,
Yeah.
but I'm a uppers kinda gal, and, like, I wanna be on the go, and so I was doing the antithesis of that.
But we're also the other thing that you're getting it for was also, your stomach, and again, it had 0 research valid research for helping with stomach issues, specifically what you were going through.
I
And
think
also another huge one that, if I was somebody else, I would have said, "Oh, yeah, here's my free card here," which is glaucoma. I talked to my eye doctor, and he's like, "No, there's an absolutely 0 proof, very minimal proof that medical marijuana actually helps with glaucoma at all." He said, "That's just so people can smoke. That's
well,
all it is."
I will say that of all the medications that I've been on,
Mhm,
there are times that I feel like, especially with my stomach issues, because I still struggle with that now, that if I had been responsible,
mhm,
that could have helped a lot, because there were times that if I did it in the right amount and I had not been trying to numb my life, and like when we got together, I was in the midst of the lowest of lows and the highest of highs
mhm.
all at the same time. Plus, we had kids trying to adjust to being in a blended family, plus having a teen who was doing her own thing, plus previous spouses, plus not, I don't know. It was just a weird time. Um, I do think that if done responsibly, there can be a lot of potential helps there. I know that I have never been one to do anything responsibly.
Well, I'm saying even so I don't think you're remembering the second time you got on it, you were doing it in responsible doses. You weren't overdoing it and stuff like that. And even then, even on a much lower dose, you were still waking up with worse stomach pain. You do not wake up with stomach pain like you did then. Like literally every single day, you'd have to wake up and immediately reach for your medication.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any time that that's happened aside from, like, as far as stomach pain, there's been other generalized pain, but not stomach pain unless you eat gluten.
Yeah. I think I don't disagree with you. I also think like my mental health has never really been great, you know?
Sure.
So I'm not trying to argue like a medical marijuana point or trying to say that it does or doesn't help. I think
Yeah.
everybody, especially if people are doing things responsibly, I think everything in moderation, everything responsibly. But
Yeah.
fast forward,
I mean, I just want to clear my case here. And my opinions on it is, I don't care. For me, it's like alcohol. I personally don't care, but just like with alcohol, you and I aren't great at moderating that, so we have to put hard limits on certain things, and that's one of them. But as far as medical uses go, I don't think there's as many as people are letting on to be, letting on that there is. I think there's certain things like maybe CBD with anxiety. I don't know. I've never used it, but I could definitely see where, you know, numbing back pain or things like that, especially with the creams and lotions that they have. I could definitely see that for joint pain and stuff like that. get a joint pain. But I don't really see, you know, the things that people are really, pushing. I'm not seeing a whole heck of a lot of research for the things that they're talking about. Granted, I
I was
don't
gonna
do a
say
lot of
not that we've
research.
done a lot of research.
I've done it on your stuff for sure,
Yeah.
like the anxiety and the stomach
I think
pains and glaucoma.
2, I probably, we listen, we don't judge. I think 2, there were a lot of times I was using a lot more than I admitted to.
Yeah,
And I think I was trying to justify a lot more than I realized.
yeah.
Anyway, so here we are. Uh, oh, we're about to celebrate our, hang on, 6th wedding anniversary. I have to
Mhm.
go look down the hallway to know that.
2019 was whenever we got
I
married.
tried to tell Lyric that. So anyway, I think of the 6 years we've been together, including the puppy dog stage, right?
Uh-huh.
Because that was the best of the best, as it always is. I feel like the last week I have been more myself than I've ever been.
Yeah, I agree with that. You gonna
Oh,
cry?
no, I'm good. Maybe.
I
Um,
still hear it in the back of your throat.
so it's really hard to go through, like, from, so subtract, let's just say 7 years.
Uh-huh.
So 33, right? So 32, we'll just estimate there when we met. Um, from 18 to 32, so that's 10, 14 years, right? Plus all the past trauma. I've just been basically in fight or flight for a long time. I've not been consistent with medication. I've not been consistent with health. I've not been consistent with counseling. And I think everything really got inflamed in the last 4 months.
Yeah,
I was really trying to get it together, not just for myself, but for our family. And I thought I was doing all the right things. And I was really hesitant to get back on ADHD medication. I do have ADHD. There is no qualms about that. I just don't think stimulants are for me.
yeah,
And I don't think that I was taking care of myself in the vitamin area,
yep,
right, and my own deficiencies to really be on that, or to whatever. And I have been going full throttle my whole life.
yep.
So,
I I just sorry. I just thought about, a really good analogy. You're kinda like a star, where it's like you've been burning and burning and burning and churning and burning, all this different stuff, and now you're kinda like you got to, like, what is it called? Like a dwarf, they start to kinda shrink and compound onto to themselves.
are you calling me old?
No, I'm just
Go
saying
ahead.
that, no, I'm saying all the pressures have compressed you down and, like, just kept on weighing on you, weighing and then finally, like, the last couple months, it just went supernova, and now you're like a black hole, but in the black hole, maybe something new can come out at the other side.
I think that a lot of things have changed. I think that, not think, I know that our family dynamic has become a lot more peaceful,
Yeah.
um, despite hormonal teenagers.
Yeah.
Um, and I think I mean, we own a house, and you and I have kind of hit I mean, we've been through a lot,
Uh-huh.
but I feel like we've kind of hit
Like a plateau, not plateau, but like our stride.
our all right. I texted you today and I said, listen, let's never cheat. Let's never talk to anyone else. If you're not happy with me, if you're not attracted to me, just tell me that.
Yep.
I don't, I've watched way too many videos lately of women just dealing with their spouse cheating and the devastation. And I just think of all that we've been through. And I love you so much. Like, if you look at the puppy dog stage and most women, like, it's the 7-year itch, and I
Mhm.
think you talked about that in your video, and I only scratch for you, um, do that, um,
I'm the only one that can scratch that itch.
right? And I don't want to ever be in a spot like, I love you enough to say if you're that unhappy with me and you have put up with so many you have endured so many things, and we both have, and we've worked
Yeah.
really hard to be where we're at, and I think we both, whether you pulled me along, like you said in the video, or I pulled you along or whatever it is, I think we've worked really hard to be here, and so, I don't ever wanna go through that. And so we've kind of gotten this place in our relationship where I feel like we made it full circle, like you said. We went through the puppy dog stage, and then we went through like the real hardships and the family adjustments, and then our adjustments, and then my psychological things and your things. And then here we are, like where the last week has really felt like the puppy dog stage again,
Yep.
sitting up being stupid and talking about a buggy and whatever it is. It's just been great. And anyway, we went through all that. We've, hit a place where whatever we have ahead of us, I feel like we can conquer.
Yep.
And soon we'll be empty nesters, which is
Well, the thing is, right now feels really great, but there's always going to be hills and valleys no matter what.
yeah.
Right now, like you said, it feels like the puppy dog phase again. But I mean, maybe whenever all the kids leave and it's just you and I, we get pissed off at each other for a couple weeks, but then, we kind of get back into the groove of things and we won't know until we get there. And it's just our responsibility to do the jobs that we have to do, like taking care of each other whenever we're sick, you know, do our jobs around the house, take care of the kids, whatever the kids need to be taken care of, take some pressure off of you, you off of me, all these different things. What?
I just love you. Um, but I also think that we have grown a lot, and I think we both know what we want out of life. And I think we both have become, at least for me, like I know who I am. I'm not trying to fit into a mold anymore.
Yeah.
Um, Also, as far as work, I have sent, I mean, pretty much since we've got together, I've been running full throttle.
Yeah.
And I have found
Not just
a,
work, it was work, and then also you were trying to do things for, what's it called, like, civic groups and stuff like that, that you really did not have business in. All these people that are in civic groups are either they have little kids that they don't realize that they're overwhelmed yet, they have no kids, or they have nannies that can take care of them.
um,
We are none of those things.
I think I've always just been trying to prove myself.
Yeah.
And I finally found a position that, and thankfully I've been able to stay within the same like realm.
Stratosphere.
Yes, stratosphere. I like that. The same realm of employment where like where I'm at now is not full throttle.
Yep,
But I'm learning new things. I'm with a great group of people.
yep.
I'm still in the same, you know, entities, if you will, but it is not near as much pressure. And I'm not adding it to myself. I'm not like going out trying to find, that high of I'm not looking for let me find the right word because I know what I'm looking for. I'm not trying to prove myself or
You're not trying to be with big dogs.
not even that. Like, I think for a while, I felt like I was underestimated. Maybe that is it, but I felt like I was underestimated because I didn't come from money. I didn't come from a college education. Like, everything I've learned has been self-taught, which is even more incredible on its own.
Autodidactic.
Yeah, autodidactic. I love that word.
I do too.
I told my mom about that. Um, anyway, I have I think because I had a hole in myself and I didn't appreciate all that I could do on my own,
Mhm.
and I didn't feel loved or feel loved from, the people I was with, whether it be you or previous people or my parents or whatever it is, I was just looking for approval.
Yeah.
And so being part of all these civic groups where people do come up and tell you, I appreciate what you do and I appreciate all that, you bring to the table. And then after, I really think like right when I transitioned out of being a podcast host
Mhm.
for a job, um, not that I'm not going to go back to that, but just where we were at the time in the company and doing all the mergers and things like that, and had to take a step back and do something that is more behind the scenes
Yep.
and not in charge. And I didn't have all this weight on me. I felt threatened for a long time, and that was a real conflict of interest for me because I've always been in charge. And then, we were going through our own things, and the kids were going through their own things, and then Dayla was moving out, and
Yep.
blah blah blah. So here we are 4 months ago, and on top of medication. And I just feel like
Yeah, that
all of
medication
the
was like icing on the cake.
all of the it was a perfect storm and
Mhm.
everything just imploded.
Yep.
And it started with, my mental health, not that I wasn't already struggling with that, but and I feel like the situation at hand that started the domino effect.
Mhm.
I did a great job with. However, it was a system shock.
Yeah.
So it started with that. Really had no control over that. You did what you had to do to make sure that I was safe. And then I was already struggling with a culture shock outwardly. And then everything that was going on with the family dynamics, your family, my family, and then just acclimating to all that. And then the, you know, beginning of 2025, everything that happened there. Nothing intentional, but not really making good choices. Still struggling with the deficiencies in vitamins, the medication, and still trying to figure out where that was.
Let me
Um,
throw this in here, make it a little bit easier for you. If you want to see the uncut and the real nitty-gritty reasons of everything that happened, go to Patreon. We will we have a whole list of things that we need to do, but this one is one that we've been
I
alluded
will.
to for a long time.
I have. I have wanted to share.
It's just things that we can't talk about on here
Yeah,
because of logistic reasons and, future monetization things and stuff like that that we
because you can't.
yeah, I mean, we really just can't say them on YouTube or general social media. So, I mean, really, like if you want to know everything just laid out, Lara, maybe this weekend you can record that video and friggin' we'll put it on Patreon and that'll be
I've
the first
wanted to
video.
do this for a while,
Yeah.
just to get it off my chest. I really do feel I have found a love of being in like this kind of position and
Yeah.
talking with you and being comfortable with that. And I feel like people should be able to know what someone else goes through. And
Yeah.
I've never been camera shy, I guess, but there are just certain things you can't say on
Yeah.
regular TV. Um,
Yeah, this is for Adult Swim.
this isn't Will and Grace. Um,
Oh,
that's the
they're
first time they
spicy.
said GD.
Oh, really? I
On
didn't know that.
Yep, on TV. That's the first
Huh.
time they let it out. Anyway, so that happened, and then I got, like, legitimately sick last week.
Yeah.
Not in a mental way, but in a physical way. Um, and then at the same time, I kind of was, I guess, detoxing from all the ADHD medication because I already made that choice to do that. And so here we are, um, uncut Lara, and I watched the video that you made and was just so moved by that. I did feel, I think, very lonely because I was so sick and I was not, there was nothing to cushion all that. There wasn't, yeah, I've had a lot of symptoms that I have felt like, oh, well, it's the ADHD medication. It's just, whatever I'm doing to, numb myself through work or blah, blah, blah. But I was just mentally going through things. And for a long time, I did not, I think because of everything going on and all of the contributing factors, I did not see how much you loved me. And I know we did the 5 love languages, and I know that acts of service have always been your thing, but
Yeah.
to watch you step up and to really think about the fact that you have stepped up through pretty much for the last 4 months in the most, like, I can't really fathom what you went through. I went back for better or for worse, and I watched some of the footage from our security cameras that we have in the house, in the living room and outside, of what you endured, and knowing you enough to watch your face and watch you just process all that. That was, very eye-opening.
Yeah.
And if you have a significant other who, like, there is no person that's gonna check all the boxes, and if they do, great for you. I don't know what you guys are doing. Maybe you don't have kids, maybe you don't have mental health issues, maybe you don't have, medication adjustments, and that's great, and I'm really happy for you. But for us, um, watching you not only step up to the plate, but appreciate me in the middle of that,
Yeah.
and then watching from the other side what that must have been through, because I really didn't get my memory back, like, fully, I guess, till what, this week probably?
I don't know, the goalpost keeps on changing because 'cause you'll say, "Oh, yeah, this week my memory is good," but then after that, it'll be, like, this week.
Yeah.
So it's kinda hard to
I do
it's hard
think
for
this
me to
week has been
judge.
good, but I don't know what I don't know,
Yeah.
right? But I
I
can
mean,
remember the beginning of the week.
it's seemed pretty good. Listen, neither you or I have had great memory at all, so it seems to me that the last couple weeks has been good.
Um, Definitely this week has been a lot better. Um, and there's not as much chaos to forget things, and the notebook has been great.
Yep.
That has really, I needed that again. Um, but just to, I don't know, I feel like I've been living on another planet until now.
Yeah.
And to bring it around town, full circle. SpongeBob is such a great reference. Again, I talked about the SpongeBob episode. Can you plug that in here? Like, is that,
Depends on if there's music.
well, there was that episode of SpongeBob where he was trying to be a fancy waiter and he was
Oh, yeah.
told to forget everything. And then somebody's like, "What's your name, son?" Or whatever.
Yeah.
And he couldn't figure out his name. And that feels like me from the time that I lost my memory, January 20th. Even before then, it was kind of like fussy. But and then now just to bring it around town.
Yeah.
Around
Yeah,
town.
personally, I'm about ready to just, like, take it easy for a while. I know we have Lyric's birthday coming up, and she's wanting to go to Tennessee and stuff like that, but I'm about ready to just
No drama.
get on the kayak and tootle around and fish and
Well, I didn't get
enjoy
what
that.
you meant by you just didn't want drama. I was so offended by that, honestly, because I felt like, from my perspective, and after listening to the kids and their experience, like, I was concerned about, like, oh, my favorite sweater
Yeah.
and, like, things I don't remember, and I think it was probably my way of coping,
Yeah.
and then the things that happened in November that I had no control over, and the way that my brain coped with that,
Yep.
I can't do anything with it, but I could not at that moment process what you have been dealing with.
Yeah,
And
obviously, I mean, you went through trauma.
but at the same time, I feel like I'm an empathetic person, but you're not only dealing with your wife being cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, not that I've ever been not cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but I was cuckoo for Cocoa
Yeah.
Puffs. Um,
Well, you saying you're an empathetic person, you are, unless you're involved in it. And I think this was a really outstanding, and I don't mean that as in like, "Oh, this is positive." I'm saying it's literally stands out beyond other examples. But this is a really good example of, like, if the drama does not involve you, you're really, really good about saying, "Oh, I get that. I
Right.
understand that." But if you're in the middle of it, then you're hyper focused on you and hyper focused on how you can get out of it so you can be there for that person.
intentions are pure,
Yeah.
but almost in a way that I can't do exactly what I want to do. So, but something shifted and I have been able to see like we're past the hour mark, right? Or whatever. How
Yeah.
fucking difficult that must have been for you. And
Well, kind of. In the moment, it was. Hold on. In the moment, it was, but
I'm
at
going
the
to
same
pretend like you're crying and you're all choked up, even though it's allergies.
But in all reality, I go into such business mode that I put everything in,
Compartmentalize.
yeah, put everything in its own little cubby hole and, just work through it. I mean,
I think a lot of men do that too.
it really doesn't bother me. And there's this video, again, I wanna do some reactions on this channel to some shorts. I think that'd be good. Having like a whole, probably like 10 of them, do some reactions every month or so or something like that. I think that'd be good. But there's this guy that's like talking about men. It's a burly guy that obviously works out on the farm and all this other stuff. And he's like, men don't need a therapist. And, they don't
That's
need,
not for every man,
yeah,
by the
no,
way.
no, no, no. I think, especially if you've been through trauma, that's good. But, here's,
However you process
yeah.
things.
So he was like, men don't need a therapist. They need to be appreciated. And that's what I've been saying for a long time. It's like, I don't need anybody to say sorry. I don't need anybody to tell me that they're going to do something. I need them to do it and then appreciate me for enduring their negligence or their frustrating moments, you know?
And I think I would say it's fair to say that I've never not appreciated you.
Yeah.
I just wasn't able to I was so caught up in trying to fix the problem that I wasn't able to see the coping with the problem. And I was so hyper focused on like I guess the yin and yang or like what you did or didn't bring to the table
Yeah.
or take from the table. I don't know, table things. Um, you know, that I wasn't able to genuinely see back to you having to compensate for me being sick. But it isn't just like I was sick. It was like mentally sick, medication,
Mhm.
mentally sick, medication, vitamins, dynamic change,
Yeah.
and then physically sick, right?
Well, it's like, hold on. It's like I was saying in my video the other day. You know what you're signing up for. I knew, I mean, you told me you were a challenge, and I knew that you had
I like it.
rambunctious children, and I knew that you had some issues of your own. I didn't know the full extent of it until about a year in. I still signed up for it. I still got married. All this. different stuff. I still signed up for those things. And as a husband, as a man, as a spouse, wherever your role is, it is your job to take up the slack because your wife, let me speak to them. Your wife, your husband, your spouse, whoever it is going to be taking up your slack too. So what I mean by that is, um, I you know better than I do my shortcomings, right? You know that I'm not exactly good, just as a shallow example, at cleaning the house compared to you, right? I can do it. I can get the job done, but compared to you, it's not going to be as nice. Where
That's about it.
get out of here. So, but for you, dinner. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. I should have taken a Claritin or something before I got
I
on
have
here.
nothing left to take.
I have some Claritin out in the truck. You got me some
You
yesterday.
need a Zyrtec or
I need
something
something.
there.
But for me, I mean, for you, you're not fast in the kitchen compared to me, right? So sometimes whenever your
Did build
ADHD,
that pie though.
whenever your ADHD is really, the pie is a good example
Think.
because the pie was delicious. You did a great job on that, just like you do with all the food. It gets done. But you did have to go to the store 5 or 6 times and you still forgot some ingredients. So, sometimes I have to step in and, I try to let you do your thing because that is something that you want to do for me. It brings you joy to take something away from me.
Or give you something.
Yeah. So, there are some times where your ADHD is extra bad, and I understand
The
that, and I
kitchen.
no, I'm saying in general, like, sometimes you're good in the kitchen, sometimes you're really, really, really not good in the kitchen. And I know those times I have to just say, "Lara, you go take care of whatever you're taking care of. Let me take care of the kitchen
And
and
I have to
cook and
trust
stuff like
you
that."
in that instead of being offended by that.
Yeah,
By the way, if your spouse knows your shortcomings, stop taking it personally. If they come in there and be like, get out of here, let me do that. Because I always took it very personally and
yeah,
like, oh, I'm a failure.
yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that was it. So, just in general, like, those are very shallow examples. There's a lot of examples that could be made for both sides where it's like, you have your job and I have mine, but sometimes I have to take your job on to make sure you are at the best that you can be.
And sometimes you have to take on my job to make sure I'm at the best I can be. You are, I am very lucky. I'm very thankful that you are a very competent, solid person. Is there I don't feel like there are many things, and maybe I overlook them, but you are pretty solid. I know that I am educated in certain things, but I every day feel very grateful for what you bring to the table. And I don't think every woman has what I have.
Yeah.
Uh, you said yep instead of some
Well,
whatever.
I'm sitting here practicing in my head what we try to teach about the 5 love languages and what they say, which is take the gratitude and appreciation because it's very easy for me to be like, "Well, I'm also lucky," and I am. It's very easy for me to do that, but I understand that you're telling me these things from your heart, and this is not the moment for me to give those kind of rebuttals.
I know I'm a like not physically strong. I get that. But I am a strong spouse. And if crap hit the fan, I'm going to use the F bomb, but I'm going to say crap, I guess. But if, if crap hit the fan, like I can do and I
Yeah,
will do, and I have been able to do, and I can toe the line. And I've never really been given the space to process all the things that I've been through or process the mental health stuff or make adjustments or to grow. It's always been survival.
yep,
And so I think you know that about me. I think you
yep,
know that, if you were to fall ill or fall exhausted or whatever that is, that if you went in there for 3 months, I could take care of things.
Yeah,
Would I maybe come in there and cry sometimes? That would maybe I go get my green card and, try and medicate
yeah.
in between or whatever that is, maybe, but I could do it. And I know that our kids would be okay, and I know that you know that.
Yeah.
I also know that there are many women, and again, back to the video commentary about not wanting to ever be a couple who is like, "Oh, he cheated on me," or, he um you were telling me the story about some couple playing.
Oh my gosh, we'll talk about that. I do have a rebuttal towards don't let me forget that, but, I do have a rebuttal towards what you're saying, which is, yes, I know for a fact if shit hit the fan, you got my back, and you know the same for me. You don't have to worry about the shit in the fan. I think we're at the point of our life right now where we're at, it's not fight or flight anymore. I think you can relax for a little bit. I
That's
think
super hard.
I understand, and you said all that without saying it in what you were just talking about. You were saying I might not be great at keeping track of the regular, everyday, not fight or flight stuff, but if shit hit the fan, I'm here for you. I'm not concerned about the shit hitting the fan because I know that we both can handle that. I'm concerned about your mental well-being and where we're at right now. That's all I care about right now. This is the shit that's actively hitting the fan is what I'm getting at. It's like you have the big propeller and then you have the little oscillating fan. That's what I'm concerned about right now because that shit's still hitting that. You know what I mean? Hold on. Let me wipe my nose one more time and then we'll talk about this damn virtual cheating. Okay. So I was listening to a short today and this couple was playing Baldur's Gate together. But you
Can
and
we
I,
preface how we got started on this conversation?
go ahead. I don't remember.
So I was talking about Tom Segura and his wife, Christina.
Yeah,
Yep.
Christina
Um,
Krasinski.
uh, so 2 comedians, if you haven't watched, we'll drop their link
Yeah,
here.
really good
And
podcast called Your Mom's House.
and so we kind of ebb and flow between like I'll start watching something and I'll tell them about like you about it and you'll have no interest and then all of a sudden you're like binging it and then
No, what normally happens is neither of us will tell each other about this podcast, and then out of nowhere, we're both watching it
right. A-
separately.
And also, like, I think because we've been sharing some accounts, we
Yeah,
have the same news feed.
yeah.
This is not the case at all. But anyway, I've been on a comedian kick. Jeff got me stuck on it.
Yeah.
And then I've kind of been picking up on different things. So uh you and I are pretty open,
Mhm.
upside down pineapple, whatever you want to call it.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
we're pretty chill with whatever. But when it comes to talking about security, there are certain things that I know I just cannot give you. I was not blessed with a dump truck.
Oh,
I've had to work for what I got. I might be shapely, I might be beautiful, but I cannot give you a Walmart dumpy. I just can't.
yeah.
So today I was watching Your Mom's House, and Tom and whoever is co-host, irrelevant, at the time was talking about um boobs versus butt, right? And she's like, "Oh, I have boobs, no butt." Relatable. Um and no matter how great your boobs are, you either have them or you don't.
Yeah.
You either have a butt or you don't, and if you have both, fuck you. So anyway, she was talking about she was boobsy and that Tom chose to marry her. And then they show this gal and she was very like general shapesy
Oh.
until she had to buy 2 airplane seats for her dumpy.
See, Lara hasn't shown me this lady yet.
I will.
I'm just kidding.
And I don't know if she's got like Spanx on or her outfit was very flattering or she just has a flawless dumpy. But they got really into like what the guys not Christina, but the guys would do with that dumpy. And I've never seen, and I haven't watched enough of it, obviously, her react like, all right, I'm done with you talking about what you would do in or around or with that dumpy that I know that I don't have.
Yeah.
And I was telling, you that this was the first time I heard her say, stop effing talking about it.
Yeah.
You're disgusting me right now, or I dislike it.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
No, I've heard
And there are
say that
many a
before.
times I've felt threatened slash not threatened, but there have been times where I have felt threatened where there was something somebody else could give you that I know without a lot of hard work physically or plastic surgically, I could not. And so I brought this up to you and you were like, well, I can one up you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, I mean, not really on the same subject exactly, but this couple was playing Baldur's Gate. By the way, this is
It's
where
about to get an illicit reaction out of me, though.
yeah, this is where we go into rated R territory, just so everybody is aware.
So if you're a child, move away.
Yeah. So they were playing Baldur's Gate. If you haven't played Baldur's Gate, you can riz some people up. I have not done that.
Raise,
Yeah.
but riz.
You can raise people up. By the way, if you're a parent and you're letting your kids play Baldur's Gate, might be too advanced for them, but even if they're like 16, 17 years old, you can adjust the genitalia and the boobs and that just like in Cyberpunk 77. So
Yeah, you can.
just keep that in mind, okay? You can adjust those things so it's not a PG game, okay? Hold on. So in this game, you can riz people up, and I guess at first playthrough they did not do that. They didn't try
It
to
was a couple
attract.
playing it.
Yeah, they didn't attract anybody. So the second playthrough, the wife was like, "Hey, I would like to go ahead and do this." And,
Re-riz.
yeah, let's restart, riz people up. Actually, try to do that, and she really wasn't having much luck with her guy that she was talking to. I
She
guess
was risen a guy. He
Yeah.
was risen
Yeah.
a
it was a girl.
of
I'll get into
another.
it. I'll get into
Okay,
it.
sorry.
So I don't know who he was, but anyway, she was trying to get in somebody's pants and just wasn't having any luck. I guess because she's a more like acts
Her
of
character.
like no, her in real life
Oh,
was like she does not do acts of service or uh like saying how she feels. What is it called? Like words of
words of
affirmation.
affirmation.
So her husband, on the other hand, very much both of those things. And he was trying to get with, like, build a relationship with a orc, right? Half orc. I can't remember her name in the game. I haven't played it enough. Anyway, so after a while, again, the wife has no luck. But he gets to the part where he's sitting around a campfire talking to this orc, this made up character, okay? Talking to this orc. And finally, he's like, gets to the line, tell her that you love her. And he does that. And immediately she's like, oh, I love you too. And, I don't know if they have intercourse or not. The people that I was watching didn't say. And, so the wife,
In real life.
yeah, in real life, she's like, oh, yeah, at least I still get to go home with you. Put her hands on his junk, fully mannered up,
Tell you.
fully up
Rizzed
and
up.
going. And she was like, well, guess I'm sleeping on the couch. And really, things did not go back to normal as far as I know.
So what he's trying to say is that in this game, haha funny, they did their thing, went back, tried to riz people up, aka hit on other people. And again, a video game, totally video game. And she didn't have much luck. He did, and he got so into it that in real life, he was able to get into it.
He was able to get up. Yeah.
And as Bjorn and I were talking about that on the way home or on the way back from lunch, which I'll get back to that in 1 second. Plot twist, and we'll come back around town again. SpongeBob. He was ready to orc it up in real life. And I told you, I don't know that I could get past that.
Yeah.
Which is where the whole cheating thing came in with me today. Because And I was very happy to know, lie or not, that in real life you have, no matter what happened in the wild, in public,
Yeah.
you have not seen somebody and been like, let's go.
Yeah, there's never been anybody in my life that I'm just like straight up like, I'm gonna be fully erect looking at this person.
Right.
Never. Oh no, I've never been.
Which is,
Listen, I was brought up in a beauty salon, right? That doesn't take away my instincts of like finding people attractive, but we understand, me and my brother and other guys that raised in a beauty salon understand how disgusting and vile women actually are, no matter how good they look. So there's that.
I don't know whether I'm offended by that or not.
I mean, you're part of it. Listen, okay, don't make me bring up the bathroom. All right.
I Because I poop and sometimes forget to flush.
And you leave just logs.
Sometimes,
She
yes,
puts
I
me
do.
to shame, brothers.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes you gotta poop and sometimes you forget to flush because you get busy because you have ADHD. But
Okay.
anyway, I'm not offended by that or upset by that. If that's what turns you off, then so be it. But
Yeah, I mean
I'm not vile.
that's pretty vile. You haven't seen the turds that you leave in there though. Okay.
Came out of my butt, can't help it, but I'm clean back there at least.
Yeah. Yeah, you can say that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can say that. 10 of 10. I'm not upset by this. Um, Vile. Anyway, um,
We'll put a picture of that right here. I'm
I'm
just
okay with I wouldn't be
just
upset.
kidding.
I would just say after I laid that log, I cleaned the logging, equipment after that.
I don't care. I see it right there.
That's okay.
Looks like I
We have
sort of
bidets in every
$5
bathroom,
foot long up in here.
the $5 foot long, and then you clean the whole, like the knife that they
Oh,
when they're done. Um, you know, I thought it was pretty remarkable. I don't even know why I felt like it was remarkable. Maybe
come on,
like
give some context here, because right now we're stuck. It's still
I know I'm
stuck
coming
on
back.
turds. I can't even get
Tuck
it
on
out.
sturds. um, After we were talking about the whole, like, she said, "Oh, I'm sleeping on the couch tonight." I don't know that I could make it past that.
Yeah,
Like the fact that that did it for you so much.
yeah, that's really weird.
Yeah, that you were like ready to rumble at that
Yeah,
level. And I think I would be probably like knowing that that was just a video game and I'm totally like, you can play all the video game and you play some video games with some characters in there. Um, that I would be okay, like knowing that.
yeah.
Like, I think that that would hang me up too much. And so, well, I started really thinking about it, and I thought it was very interesting to consider that.
Now, hold on. Now, there's a difference here. Okay, I'm not justifying anybody's actions here. I'm just saying I don't know the full context of this.
Mhm.
If they're showing explicit things and it's like,
Corny.
yeah, it's literally just corn, that might be a little different. But what I'm
And at
more
that point, he should say, "I
hold on.
don't think this is appropriate."
Sure, I agree with that. What I'm getting at though is he was so, because according to the video that I watched, all he said was, "I love you." There was no
Oh, that's emotional corn.
stuff going on as far as I know.
Right.
It was just he was in an emotional relationship with this character, and that's the dangerous part of it.
Oh, I mean, there was a story that I watched, and who knows how real this is, but this woman was so disappointed with her husband that she was like trying to get some answers. And I could see this happening from AI.
There's a whole AI app for women to go on and talk to
Right.
whatever man they
Well,
want.
she was just, let's say,
You fell in
ChatGPT and
love
it
with
up.
Google?
Gemini. She was Geminiing it up.
Oh, wow.
And then she had created this whole perfect person in Gemini and became in an emotional relationship
Awful.
and was like having sexy time with Gemini, and that she stayed with her husband. Her husband still doesn't know, but like was fully in love. And I could see that, like, somebody be I personally couldn't because, like, me looking at you
Yep.
and, like, I all these satire videos where you see the man, like, sexually, like,
Yeah.
harassing or whatever his wife, like, I'm the man in the
Yep.
relationship when it comes to that, like, I'm mm. Anyway,
What what this is though, it's like the t
you didn't
at
even give a moment for me to hang on, slow mo it.
get out of here.
Right, go ahead.
Get out of here. What this is the human equivalent of, like, giving rats pellets as a reward instead of real food, because it's like our dopamine system, talk about the AI and the video game and stuff like that, the dopamine system, and specifically for the emotional and sexual, we are getting to the point now where for now we're like 2, probably getting into 3 generations of online dating. How you interact with these people online is photos and text. That's it.
That's why people there's a whole show called Catfished.
Yeah. Well, that's generation 1.
Right,
Now we're getting into generation 2 and 3 where AI can generate a photo, they can generate a video, and they can generate all the text that you want.
right.
And now these people are like getting
It's like
into
Romeo where somebody else is writing the script.
yeah, but now somebody's just sitting here, these people are getting into real relationships with I'm going back to the food reference, non-nutrition. It's just like the AI is like fast food.
Right,
And now people don't know what to do with real food, you
right.
know? And that's a scary thing. I mean, more years.
Anyway,
Real scary.
the interesting part for me
See
was
what's gonna happen next.
oh,
I'm
never
not
mind.
trying to interrupt. I'm just
Oh,
gonna
you already did.
I'm gonna throw some
And then we're not gonna talk about the interesting thing.
we'll get to that
Oh,
interesting
we're not.
thing.
Go ahead.
We will. Don't argue with me, woman.
I don't wanna put it out there now. I have
Why?
bravery. 'Cause go ahead.
We'll get back to it. What's gonna happen is they're gonna make these robots, and they're gonna be like they're gonna take the eggs from the women and put them in the robot. They're gonna have, freaking
Surrogate.
yeah, they're gonna be like surrogates where the guy
That is actually scientifically possible
where the guys have a
because 'cause they've
relationship.
already grown babies, test tube babies.
They're gonna create a relationship with this robot woman because it's AI, and they're gonna wanna have a baby in a marriage with this robot. That's not gonna backtalk or anything like that, and
I
that's
love
the
that you started off with the back talk.
I'm just saying what all
No,
the guys
I
would
know.
generally think, but
He could power her down when he's
but
done with her.
here's the other part of that. With that little love circle, they could create the next generation of humans because instead of having to go through the birth canal, the baby can come out kinda like a C-section. But that is one of the biggest hurdles for humanity is we're still evolving thinking that we have to go through the birth canal. And so our heads can't expand and grow our brains to where they need to be to evolve to
Did you
that
just
next
make
level.
that up?
Not even a little
Okay,
bit.
I was just curious.
I've heard that from other scientists.
Oh,
Not other scientists,
interesting.
from scientists. I'm not a scientist.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that really is one of the big things. That's why they think that people who, like babies who are born in space, might evolve differently
Hmm.
because their heads will be bigger. What's your interesting thing?
I'm still hung up on what you were talking about. I mean, that's a really good point. It's a remarkably interesting and exciting and scary time
Yep.
to be a human.
And those babies will have cybernetics in their head, so they'll instantly know everything.
Well, hell no, I don't want a kid who knows everything. Give me the dumb kids, please. Um,
But also have the human instincts and emotion.
hmm,
Go ahead with your interesting thing.
what were you talking about?
Oh, no, you had something interesting. We're talking about
Where'd you
AI love and
I wasn't
cheating
talking
and
about AI love.
stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I think it is there's something to be said for the fact that we were talking about, risen people up,
Oh,
that, we'll not talk about the blessing it is to be a woman, and should I be that intrigued by a gentleman or a woman in public that I wouldn't have to worry about controlling
yeah,
those things.
yeah.
But the fact that I can be mentally so attracted to you
Huh.
that, and I would say that the same could be said for you, right?
Yeah,
That I don't have to see you, but I could have that illicit response
yeah,
wherever I'm at, just based on a conversation or a thought.
yeah, that's happened.
And I appreciate that, and am sad for, I still just think about the fact, and maybe it's because I've never had that kind of depth of relationship, or been, I can, in or unequivocally? Unequivocally?
I don't know. You've been debating this with yourself for,
A long
excuse me,
time.
a long time now.
Um, Whatever the equivocally, but I can tell you for fact that I have never been emotionally, mentally, or, and I think because of those two, it like enhances exponentially the
Yeah.
physically attracted to someone the way that I am to you. Like, I again am like a teenage boy, and you are just like the
That
pinup
don't
girl of the
don't
time.
say that.
But
Just
okay.
don't bring teenage boys into
Okay.
this
Well,
equation, please.
I am
You
the
could say, 20-year-old man,
whatever
anything other than 13.
whatever you wanna say, I am beyond attracted to you.
The
And
same about you?
there th there is no question in this house. It is, well, the only question is, what are you looking at?
Yeah.
Why are you looking at me like that? I Every time it's the same thing.
I just feel like a piece of meat or
You are a piece of meat. You're my piece of meat. I'll slice you, dice you. That sounds really serial killery. Anyway, so all this to say, there's been a lot of things that have led us to where we are. And if you want to hear more, I'm not, I would prefer not to make this whole Patreon video if people don't have interest, but I would very much like to explain the intricacies of, I would say, the last 4 months, thank the Thanksgiving feast of whatever, pre-Thanksgiving, uh, January 20th is the date, I guess it's just stuck in my mind, the 120, or, I mean, nobody really cares about me being sick, but, uh, I'd be happy to talk about that. But what's been going on in the last 4 months, and why we haven't been on here, and, why I really
you've
do,
been on here, just not as consistent.
but I am ready. Like, I finally feel like I've I have needed this time to avoid everything and everyone, and have not wanted to try. But today has been like the salad.
You know what this is? What you
Yeah,
just
no,
said?
hang on, wait, wait, wait.
Go ahead.
Don't let me forget. Today I wanted a salad really, really
Uh-huh.
bad, like really like $85 worth of salad ingredients bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't just salad, but um, that today was the day that I realized, like, I'm ready to start living again, and I've not wanted to do that in a while, and not because I didn't love my family, not because I didn't love you, not because I didn't care about myself, but because I couldn't.
Yeah.
But today was the first day that it was like, okay,
The first day of your life.
that I can do this, and it felt right. It wasn't like it was me by myself. Like, we've been doing lunch It happened 3 times, which is doing lunch to me. But we've worked together in the same building in previous months past,
Yep.
and we have been making time to just, like, have lunch together, and that has meant a lot to me, and it has been nice, and it's not just that I wanted to do it by myself, but I felt like it mattered to do it with you
Yep.
and that you enjoyed it. So, anyway, go ahead. What were you saying?
So, it's kinda like I'm Rose and you're Jack, and I'm sitting there on the door, and I'm like, "Oh, Jack, don't go, like, you're gonna be okay." And then they're like, "No, I'm not.
I'm
Fuck this
losing.
place." And then, yeah, I'm losing. Oh, well, I'll tell you about that in a second, and we'll end on this. But anyway,
You cannot end on that. Please,
hold
we're
on,
not gonna let him
hold
end
on,
on that.
let me finish my
I'm gonna
analogy.
let you finish. Go ahead.
So then you sink down, you're Jack, you're turning blue, all this other stuff, and then a few seconds later, I'm just sitting there on the little buoy by myself, and I'm just like, I'm gonna miss her." And then you freaking come back up, "That shit's too cold. Let me up on this door." That's where you're at right now. So last night, Lara and I were listening to music, and
In our full circle teenage stage.
yep, we're listening.
Not teenage. I'm not allowed to say that.
No, I'm saying in the way that you're talking, you're
I
talking.
get it. No, I get it. You're right.
Uh,
Ah,
anyway, so we're listening to Frank Sinatra. We're listening to a bunch of fun stuff, singing and all this other stuff, and then Frank Sinatra comes on, and we're just. I'm like, "How did he die?" And blah 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 blah. And then Lara's like, "Oh, his last words were,
hang on. I will give you that. But I want to say, so he suffered cancer. He had a couple heart attacks. We're at the last moments.
yeah,
And his wife, Barbara, says, as he's having a heart attack, "You can do it. Hold on. You've got this. You're a fighter." Essentially, like cheering him
I
on.
just
And he,
every time I just imagine them in like a Jersey accent kind of thing, not like Jersey Shore, but just like, "Come on, Frankie, you got this," kind of.
and then he looks at his daughter and says,
"I'm losing." That's what he says. "I'm losing."
and then that
That's
was
it.
it.
He died. Last words. Frank Sinatra.
And I didn't know that. And I love Frank Sinatra. And
Then I was picking on her, and I was like, we were literally. I was passing out at this moment. I'm
going
like,
to bed.
yeah. I'm like, "All right, Lara, I'm losing," and I just go to
And he
sleep.
wouldn't let me talk after that. And I was like, "Don't do that." He's like, "No, shh, shh." I don't know. I'm shh my nose. It itches. Shh, shh. I'm losing. And like, I'm like, haha, funny. And like trying not to, because you've been cracking me up
I was losing
lately.
to sleep.
And he was, everything has been like, just again, like the stupid giggles, like everything's been great. And then he said, "I'm losing." And then the next thing I knew, he was snoring. And I was like, "Okay, don't get too deep into this." 3 hours later, because I couldn't sleep, I was kept thinking, like, "I'm losing." And I kept listening for you to breathe. I was like, "Okay, he's not like losing. But that really was like an intense story.
Yeah, it
And but
was.
you actually felt that. Like
Yeah,
you
no, I was really sad
legitimately
about it
felt
because
that.
working in the funeral home industry, one of the most popular songs in our territory, and I'm sure around the US,
Ugh.
is Frank Sinatra's "My Way." And that's such a beautiful song to me. I've always said that I wanted that at my funeral, even before I worked there. But you hear it and you see these people.
I was today years old
What?
when I may or may not retain
No,
that.
I've told you that before. But yeah, you see these people's whole lives flashing on a DVD on the TV screen, and you're hearing "My Way," and what a beautiful thing. And he went his way, just not his way, but went in a way and said things
But
that he
how,
said.
like, for Frank Sinatra, of all the songs he sang, like, "I'm losing,"
Yeah,
like that, I feel like that's classic Frankie.
yeah.
Like somebody said that at his funeral, but
Oh, really?
no, I'm saying
Oh,
they should have, because that was intense.
yeah.
But I'll tell you what, I'm not losing, at least right now.
We're
No,
all gonna lose one day.
absolutely.
Yep,
Because, and it's a game that we don't really have a choice to play once
yep.
we get shoved out the canal, um, or the maybe not canal
Yeah,
down the
the
road.
AI utero.
Yeah, but I missed you guys. I missed doing this. I'm really glad we sat here and had this conversation.
Same.
for whatever circle of life that it has been. But um, I look forward to looking backward and seeing where we've come from and where we're going. And there's so many things I think we both want to do. You've shared that often.
Yep.
I'm pretty heck bent on
Heck bent. You said all these other words.
leave me be,
You
boy.
can't say hell
Leave me
bent.
be, boy.
Leave me be, boy.
Leave me be, boy. I like that. Leave me be, boy.
I'm not your boy.
Leave me be, man. It's not near as anyway, leave me be, you. Leave me be.
All right. I think we got it.
Okay. Anyway,
They're just not sticking.
so for me it is. I still want to go back and talk about our lifestyle, and I think that has been an interesting evolution throughout this whole relationship as well, or especially the last 4 months. And whether you whistle while you work, or whether you are just figuring it out, I'd love to help you guys along with that. You gals, especially, you guy gals, whatever you want to do. And I want to definitely, as you talked about doing Bjorn the Wanderer, I do
The Wandering Bjorn.
same thing.
No.
The Wandering Bjorn. Excuse me. And I definitely want to do the toy channel, because boy, do I have a toy for you ladies. 10 of 10, 10 of 12, 12 of 20.
Hey, chill out, okay?
All right, it is great. And then the last thing is plot twist. I'm not necessarily a gaming gal, but I have found a game that is made me
Marvel what's it called? Marvel Avengers or
Rivals.
Yep. It's pretty good stuff.
I did not know I was enjoying it as much as I was until you looked over and you're like, I haven't seen you this happy in a while.
Yeah.
And I didn't know I was that happy, but I was having a
distraction.
Huh?
I think that's good distraction for you.
It was a great time. And because I get the mechanics of things.
Very much Overwatch.
I'm not much of a
controller
kind of gal.
We got to get a pro controller.
But I'd like a mouse and keyboard. But anyway, we have a lot of plans, and I'm excited. Like for the nope. The future is bright.
All right.
The future is bright. I'm excited about whatever tomorrow brings, and I'm not like thinking too deep into it. Like I'm along for the ride, and I'm happy to be along for the ride. I'm not overwhelmed by it. I'm not stressed by it. I'm just happy to be here.
Welcome to the club.
With you.
Yep. All right, everybody.
Can we move on, please?
Let's wrap it up.
I feel like I had to do the Pledge of Allegiance all of a sudden. Like the
what in the world?
I don't know.
All right, everybody.
Like, follow, subscribe, hit that bell, come back for whatever happens, whenever it happens. But I'm going to be here. He's going to be here. And
stay odd.
America.
All right. You're supposed to say the thing. Stay a little odd.
Because I sure as heck am. And so is he.
I'm losing.
Don't say that.